What up, YouTube? I'm back. So this was an amazing Sword Art Online Alicization episode. I think it was probably one of the best episodes of the series so far. Even though I know that the episodes that are to come are gonna be even better, it was great to see, man. It was action packed. I thought that some of the characters that we know was gonna die, but it was amazing, man. It was great. They did a really good job of animating, and the art also was great. So let's get right to it. So obviously the war between the human empire and the dark forces finally started because the wall finally fell. It was loading. It was a loading test, I think, something like that, and the wall finally fell. So the dark forces attacked the human empire forces, and it was a great sight to see. We were introduced to some new characters, some of the new Integrity Knight that we weren't introduced in the first half of the season. This one is Integrity Knight Sheta Synthesis 12. So uh, he or she looks pretty confident in her power, so that's gonna be good to see. And then there's this Integrity Knight, her name is Renly Synthesis 27. He was underwhelming, man. I think he left the battlefield because he was really scared, so that was kind of a turn off to me. But hopefully we'll see him in action soon. And obviously we saw Berkuli. He looks badass, man. He looks even better without his armor, so I can't wait to see him fight at full power, because we saw him fight against Yu-Gi-Oh, but I think he has something more in him, so I can't wait for that. But yeah, man, there was the other Integrity Knight that we were already introduced to, so I'm not gonna talk about them like that. But yeah, it was great to see some new Integrity Knight. So we saw Kirito again in this week's episode. It's still crazy to me that he's in a coma and that he's not the main character of the series right now. So he was behind the soldiers with his apprentice and Yu-Gi-Oh's apprentice. I don't remember their name, my bad. And it's crazy to me that they're on the battlefield, because they might die. We don't know, but yeah, man, hopefully he'll be alright really soon, because I really want to see him in action against the dark forces, because they look awesome like villains. And also we haven't seen Azuna since she entered the STL, so that's kind of interesting. I'm wondering, maybe she's in the Citadel or something like that. I don't know, but I can't wait to see Azuna in the Underworld. So we saw some of the Integrity Knight in action. We saw, I think his name is Hubert, one of the Integrity Knight. I think it's Integrity Knight 7 or something like that. We saw him in action. Obviously, we saw him fight Yu-Gi-Oh and Kirito in the previous half of the season, and he was amazing there, and he was still amazing in this week's episode, man. The way that they do his animation with the fire, the flames, is just amazing, man. And he was just destroying some of the troops from the dark forces, especially the goblins. And I really like that shot right there of the goblins running up on the human forces. I really thought that shot was great. We also saw Lady Fanasio in action, and I just want to say this. I've already said it, but I just like that she finally accepted that she's a woman, and I really like how she looks with her lipstick and everything like that. Her design I always liked, but now I just like her, man. She's one of my favorite Integrity Knight. But anyway, both her and Hubert used their enchantment ornament, and they both destroyed a lot of the dark forces troops, at least the first unit, of the goblins and the giants. But something really weird happened with Lady Fanasio. One of the members of the dark forces was tripping out because of how strong the Integrity Knight were, and he was really scared, of how powerful they were. And then his cube something went wrong with his cube, and because of that, I think all the cubes are kind of connected to each other, and because of that, well, because of what happened with his cube, because he was tripping, because he was bugging, there was something that happened with Lady Fanacio's cube, and for a reason she wasn't able to move, so that was really, really interesting. It seems like every cube are connected to each other, so that's something that we have to look at later in this season. But yeah, man, I really thought at a moment that Lady Fanacio was gonna die, man, and I wasn't gonna be happy. But yeah, it was like there was a lag in the system, like any other video game. Sometimes there's a lag, and I guess that's what happened in this week's episode, with the goblin or the giant and Lady Fanacio. So like I said, we have to keep an eye on that because it was really interesting, and because of that, Lady Fanacio almost died. The only reason that she did it is because one of her aides protected her, and it was a gruesome death. The way that she died was gruesome, man, and a lot of things in this week's episode was gruesome because first of all, it's a war, and second of all, this Alicization season has been really cool because we can actually see the people bleed, so it was gruesome. But yeah, man, if it wasn't for Lady Fanacio's aid, she probably would have died. And I just like the emotions that we saw in her face when she saw that one of her friends, one of her aides died. I just like the emotion. That was one of my favorite shots of the episode because, like I said, this season, the Alicization season, that has been really well animated, and the art has been amazing. So that was one of my favorite shots of the episode. But yeah, Lady Fanacio was a huge part of this episode, and I love it. So hopefully we'll see more of her for the rest of the season because she's amazing. But we saw Integrity Knight 7, I think his name is Hubert, in action without any arrows left. He used a sword, and I think it was the first time that we saw him actually use a sword. So let me know in the comments down below if he's used it before, but because he didn't have any arrows left, he had to use a sword, and we saw him in action a little bit. I think he killed maybe 2 goblins with it, but at the end of it, the same thing that happened with Hubert, with Lady Fanacio, happened with Hubert. One of the giants or goblins was kind of lagging, and because of that he was going crazy, and it looked like because they're going crazy, they're even stronger, so I actually thought that Hubert was gonna die by a goblin in this week's episode. I thought that he was the character that was gonna die in this week's episode, so that was kind of crazy. But because he didn't have any arrows left, he used his sword as an arrow, and I really like the animation that they're doing every time that he attacks an enemy, because his flames, the way that they're animated, is crazy, man. And he had 2 goblins at his feet, but because of how hot the flames were, they just disintegrated, so that was kind of crazy. So he was able to survive, but I really thought that he was gonna die, so that was crazy. But yeah, man, it was an amazing episode. I really liked the way that they did the animation, the art, the fighting, of the dark forces versus the human empire. It was gruesome, and that's how war is, I guess. I really don't want to know for real, because I don't think a war is a good thing. But it was an amazing episode, man. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about the episode. But before I end the review, there was something that happened at the end of the episode. It was crazy because it seems like Alice was collecting souls with her hands. I don't know what the hell was happening, but it reminded me of how the leader of the dark forces, I don't remember his name exactly, how he was absorbing souls with his mouth, how he was eating souls. So it reminded me a lot of that, but I don't know what the hell she was doing. It was kind of crazy. It formed a silver sphere at the end of the episode. I don't know what happened, but we'll have to see in next week's episode, man, because Alice obviously is a big part of this season, of the entirety of the season, so we'll have to see what the hell happened. And like I said, I'm wondering where Azuna is right now, because she's also going to be a big part of this season, I think. So we'll have to see. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this week's episode in the comments down below, and let me know if there's things that I forgot to talk about that was really, really important in this week's episode, man. But yeah, I do Sword Art Online Alicization reviews every Saturday, so subscribe for that. But I also do other anime related things like Black Clover reviews on Tuesdays, Doctor Stone reviews on Fridays, Boku no Hero Academia season 4 reviews early on Saturdays, and then like I said, Sword Art Online Alicization, and then later that day I do One Piece reviews. So stay tuned for all of that. And I also do Boruto Naruto Next Generation reviews on Sundays. I didn't do the last 2 episodes because it's pretty hard to wake up and watch the episode at like 5 a.m. So I'm gonna do my best to do the next review. But yeah, man, it was great. It was an amazing episode, one of the best episodes of the Sword Art Online Alicization season, and one of the most action-packed episode of the series in my opinion. So yeah, follow me at Anime Specialist on Twitter and Instagram, and like, comment, subscribe. It would help my channel a lot. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Anime Specialist out. Peace.